Good evening, this is Brass Tacks. I'm Zakir Jacob. There is a shocking new audio clip that is out. It basically shows two phone calls between the authorities at the RG Kar hospital and the family of the doctor who was raped and murdered. In the first phone call, one of the assistant superintendents of the hospital is heard telling the family of Abhaya that, look, your daughter is in danger, please come and rescue her. Rush to the hospital immediately. This is after and despite the fact that the victim, the survivor, was clearly dead by the time this call happened, and yet there is no revealing of the fact by the hospital authorities that the survivor is dead. And then a few minutes later, there is a second follow-up phone call in which another assistant superintendent who is heard saying to the family of the survivor that, look, your daughter could have either committed suicide or she has been murdered. Please come to the hospital. Now, the question is, why are the RG Kar College Hospital authorities saying that the survivor committed suicide? Why is it that they are saying in the first phone call, oh, she's hurt, she's alive, but she's in danger, please come immediately to the hospital, when clearly at that point she was already dead? The question is, who and what and why are they protecting? How come these assistant supers have not been arrested by the police or by the CBI? But the question that fundamentally lingers is this: why were they misleading the family of the survivor? Who told them to mislead the family of the survivor? And most importantly, now that it is apparent that they were trying to mislead the family, they were trying to cover up, for whatever reason they were trying to, why are they not being held to account? Why are these assistant superintendents not facing the long arm of the law? But first, the story.
Hello.
Hello.
হ্যাঁ বলুন। হ্যাঁ বলুন বলুন।
কি হয়েছে কি সেটা বলো না একটু।
ওনার অবস্থা খুবই খারাপ। আপনি যতটা তাড়াতাড়ি পারবেন চলে আসুন।
কি হয়েছে না সেটা বলো না।
ওটা তো ডাক্তার বলবে, আপনি একটু তাড়াতাড়ি চলে আসুন এখানে।
আপনি কে বলছেন বলুন তো?
আমি অ্যাসিস্ট্যান্ট সুপার বলছি, আমি ডাক্তার বলছি না।
ডাক্তার নেই হবে কেউ?
আমি সুপারিনটেন্ডেন্ট কথা বলছি। হ্যালো।
হ্যাঁ ঠিক আছে।
হ্যাঁ, আমি অ্যাসিস্ট্যান্ট সুপারিনটেন্ডেন্ট কথা বলছি। আপনার মেয়েকে আমরা এমার্জেন্সিতে নিয়ে এসেছি, আপনারা আসুন, এসে যোগাযোগ করুন।
ও কি হয়েছিল কি? ও তো ডিউটিতে ছিল।
আপনারা জলদি চলে আসুন, যতটা তাড়াতাড়ি পারবেন। হ্যাঁ শুনুন, আপনাকে তখন বারবার বলছিলাম, ব্যাপারটা হচ্ছে যে আপনার মেয়ে উনি সুসাইড করেছেন হয়তো, বা কিছু মারা গেছেন। পুলিশ রয়েছে, আমরা হসপিটালে সবার সামনেই রয়েছি, ফোন করছি, আপনারা যত তাড়াতাড়ি পারবেন চলে আসুন।
আমরা আসছি এক্ষুনি আসছি।
হ্যাঁ খুব তাড়াতাড়ি চলে আসুন।
আমার মেয়েটা
জানেন তো?
কথা বলেন।
হ্যাঁ হ্যালো।
হ্যাঁ বলুন।
আমি আরজি কর বলছিলাম।
হ্যাঁ
আচ্ছা আপনারা আসছেন তো?
হ্যাঁ একদম আসছি। কেমন আছে শরীর?
আপনারা আসুন, আসলে কথা হবে। আসুন, আরজি কর হসপিটালে আসুন, আমাদের এই চেস্ট ডিপার্টমেন্টের এইচওডি স্যারের কাছে আসুন।
আচ্ছা।
So what you heard are two different phone calls within a space of a few minutes. First, the first assistant superintendent who calls the family says, look, your daughter is in danger, please come to the hospital, rush to the hospital immediately. Now, here's the thing. By the time that call went, the victim, the survivor, was already dead. Why was that not conveyed to the family? In the second phone call, you hear a second assistant superintendent who is saying that she could have died by suicide or she could have been murdered, when clearly it was apparent to everyone, not even just medical practitioners there, but anyone, given the nature of the injuries that she had sustained on her body, that this was far from a case of suicide. So why were they peddling the suicide theory? And the most important question, these two assistant supers have been questioned first by the police and then subsequently by the CBI, but they have not been arrested. It is very apparent that they were trying to cover up what happened at the RG Kar hospital. Why have they not been arrested up until now? Let me now open this up to our panelists. Shehzad Poonawalla here in our studios, national spokesperson of the BJP. Professor Monojit Mondal is a political analyst with sympathies to the CMC. He'll be joining us. Dr. Arvi Ashokan is president of the Indian Medical Association. And Jayanta Ghoshal is a senior journalist who will also be joining us. Shehzad Poonawalla, those two phone calls I mean, the critical question that needs to be asked and answered really is, when the first call went out to the family, it was clear that the victim, Abhaya, was already dead by then. And yet, the assistant super says, oh, she's unwell, please come to the hospital fast, please come to her rescue. And the second phone call says, she could have died by suicide or she could have been murdered, come to the hospital. It is clear to me that the initial response from these two assistant superintendents was to try and cover up or to hush up the entire case of what happened to this victim. Question is, why are they not being arrested?
Very well. Zaka, I'm going to come to that in about 30-40 seconds, but let me just decode the takeaways from these two audio tapes that CNN News 18 has put out. One, from the very start, the parents, including the Supreme Court, High Court, all of them felt that there was an attempt to cover up. That seems to be confirmed by these audio tapes. Two, the fact of the matter is that Mamata Banerjee's entire response to this has not been on the side of the Beti, but has been on the side of the Aparadhis to an extent, patronized those who have been covering this up, including Sandeep Ghosh, and also in a sense to cover up the evidence that has taken place. Three, the question is that the principal seems to be the main character of this, and we already know that he's been put through a polygraph test, he's been investigated for 100 hours. Now, the principal who was the mastermind at this cover-up operation was being promoted by the Mamata Banerjee government. First and foremost, he seems to be the key figure who the CBI is looking deeply into. These assistant superintendents have also been questioned, and I'm sure, I don't want to guess what the CBI will do next, but based on what they've got from various people that they've questioned, they will take a call whether one person needs to be arrested or needs to be continued investigating till the time a case is made out to arrest them, because arresting somebody just for the sake of it would not be the way the CBI wants to function. Already the CBI is being monitored by the Supreme Court, so they won't take a step that is a misstep. But having said that, what we need to ask is 2 or 3 questions, and I think we should have the answers to this. The entire cover-up begins right from the stage of the hospital and the moment go. Mamata Banerjee is both the health minister and the home minister. Should she not, after these audio tapes, take some accountability? Because she was even promoting Sandeep Ghosh, who was the principal, who was the man who was controlling all these officials. Point number 1. Point number 2, the question that needs to be asked is that if you see at a larger level in West Bengal, this is just a symptom. Every institution seems to be so compromised, whether it's the police and the way they've behaved, allowing the RG Kar Medical College to be desecrated, or whether it's the hospital and the medical institutions, everything seems to be completely politicized, completely corrupted, and completely falling at the feet of the state government and the political party in power. And this corrosion of institutions that have taken place under the watch of Mamata Banerjee is the larger issue that needs to be addressed as well. So while there is a smaller issue that there is a cover-up right from the beginning, the larger issue is that Mamata Banerjee has actually shown and demonstrated that how every institution works for a systematic
cover-up. So let me ask Monojit Mondal. I think it's very, very apparent, Professor Mondal, from these phone conversations that the hospital authorities were simply trying to cover up what was a brutal rape and murder of this victim, in this case Abhaya. The first assistant superintendent says, oh, your girl is in danger, meaning that she's still alive, but she's in danger, please come to the hospital immediately. The second phone call by the second assistant superintendent says, oh, she could have committed suicide, looks like she's committed suicide, or she could have been murdered, please come to the hospital immediately. Who is telling them to tell all of these things? Because these are blatant lies. When these calls went out to the victim's family, it was apparent that A, she was dead by that time. There was no reason why the first phone call should have said, oh, please come and rescue her. And second, it was apparent even to onlookers, even to her classmates, even to the people who were working with her, given the nature of her injuries, that she was murdered. Why would the assistant superintendent say, oh, she may have committed suicide, please come and collect her body?
Look at the incompetence of CBI. I mean, there are so many Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson like you and my friend spoke before me. They can say that this phone call was a malicious phone call to cover up, to hush up things. And CBI, despite interrogating, say, these people for nearly 20 days, could not do anything, could not find a single trace of evidence, but you could find so many evidences. This is the level of competence CBI has. In fact, that is the case for the last 3 years in Bengal. You have 32 CBI investigations, few NI investigations.
Professor Mondal, one second. This phone call happened on the 9th of August, right after the victim's body was discovered. Are you telling me the Kolkata police was not privy to this conversation?
Are you telling me the Kolkata police did go by this phone conversation and they registered the murder case despite your quote unquote idea of hushing up? Kolkata police did follow the standard protocol. The moment they discovered the dead body, registered a case of UD at 10:10 a.m. and then the autopsy is done. Autopsy confirms rape and murder. Kolkata police registered
So, presuming that they knew about this phone call, presuming that they knew about this phone call, Professor Mondal, hear me out, 10 seconds. Presuming that they knew about this phone call, should these two assistant superintendents not be questioned? Should these two assistant superintendents not be asked, why did you tell the family that it was a case of suicide when it clearly was not? Should these assistant supers not be asked, why were you saying, please come and take, rescue her when she was already dead by the time the first phone call was made? Are these not questions that need to be asked?
I'm so sorry. I really pity at your plight, the way you're interrupting. You didn't interrupt your friend.
No, please go ahead. I will give you uninterrupted time if you have answers to the questions that I'm asking you.
I'm answering the question that you raised.
Yes, answer.
CBI, the Kolkata police got barely 36 hours to investigate the police. Kolkata police certainly would have gone into that line, but CBI is doing it. CBI interrogated these people. CBI had 13 days investigation on the Sandeep Ghosh, probably according to the wish of my friend, one of the main culprit. Still that person is remaining caught-free. ED has come into place. They're going to his house every other day.
Before I go to the other guest, let Shehzad respond to this. Sandeep Ghosh has been questioned for the last 10 days. 10 to 12 hours every single day. The CBI is privy to these phone conversations, and yet these assistant supers are out at large. Why? Why is the CBI not arresting them? Prima facie, isn't there a case made out against them?
First of all, Zaka, on a sensitive issue like this, and when you are giving equal space and time to both of us to answer and to address the issues, I think we should be a little more sensitive in the way we discuss this issue. So, I only try to tell Mr. Mandal that please have some sensitivity. You said,
I don't lecture,
please, sir.
I don't lecture from
Sir,
Dr. Mandal,
I know you can't take lectures
please,
from
come on,
I think courtesy should
nobody's
not be
lecturing
lost.
anybody.
I think
all our interests are for our justice for the victim. Please hear him out. Please hear him out without any prejudice.
I tell you,
we all want justice for the victim. That's all our interest is. No lecture from anybody. Okay.
I am not lecturing.
Okay,
I'll tell you the reason why I said that. The reason why I said that.
Thank you. Yeah.
The reason why I said that, Mr. Mandal said last 20 days CBI is into this. Sir, the unfortunate incident took place on 9th August. Today we are on 29th August. The CBI got it much later, and the first statement the CBI made to the Supreme Court, Zaka, you remember, is that the CBI told the Supreme Court that the altered crime scene is a challenge. And let's not kid ourselves, that entire crime scene was vandalized. We've seen the videos that have come out from the seminar room. We don't even know whether it was the seminar room where the thing took place, because near that there was a renovation that was done. Unnecessarily it was done. The entire crime scene was altered. The Supreme Court has admitted that the case papers were also tampered, and 30 years they have never seen such kind of destruction take place.
You are a qualified lawyer.
Yes.
From these phone conversations,
does
it appear to you that they were trying to mislead the victim's family?
Prima facie, from what it is evident, is that yes, they were definitely trying to cover up something, give the family a different impression from what actually existed, and also they were trying to perhaps cover up for a larger cause. Now, the problem here is that because the evidence has been tampered and altered with to such an extent that the Supreme Court has also been apprised of, now to piece that evidence together and to then take action, including arrest on every person. Now, you are saying Sandeep Ghosh. Let me tell you about Sandeep Ghosh. Not only has been investigated for 100 hours, polygraph tests, etc., but apart from that, even the other cases which are lying in vigilance, the corruption cases, etc., non-bailable offences have been filed, FIR has been filed, and he's been booked in those as well, so that he does not get away. Having said that, can I just take 10-15 seconds more, just 15 seconds more. Zaka, the problem is that Mamata Banerjee's response today, rather than taking some amount of accountability, has been aag laga denge. Instead of nyay, her entire focus is badla. And when she says Uttar Pradesh mein aag lagegi, Assam mein aag lagegi, Bihar mein aag lagegi, where are all these Samvidhan Bachao types? Where are all these ladki hu lad sakti hu types? Are they not going to tell Mamata Banerjee, you need an intervention right now? she's threatening doctors. Her Kolkata police will perhaps issue you a notice कि ये audio tape कैसे बचा दिया at 1 AM at night, but not now. 1 AM they'll issue you. And then you come out and you pat your back. The Kolkata police has been taken to the cleaners by the High Court and the Supreme Court.
Okay.
Mr. Mandal, have some sensitivity.
So
The Kolkata police is not shining glory.
Join the Ghoshal. Join the Ghoshal. One second, sir, please. I'm going to join the Ghoshal. Mr. Ghoshal, I think it's very, very apparent, at least from these phone conversations, for whatever motives, for whatever reasons they did so, the college authorities were trying to mislead the victim's family. I think it's very, very clear. The first phone call says, oh, please come and rescue her. She's still around, she's still alive, when she was clearly dead by then. The second phone call says, oh, she could have committed suicide. Please come to the hospital, when it was very apparent, not even to just trained doctors, even though there were trained doctors who were there at the scene, but even to non-trained doctors, it was very apparent that this was not a case of suicide. Why were the college authorities trying to hush this up, number one? And two, from the phone conversations, if that is apparent, then why have these people not been questioned, not been arrested, and not been put through the ringer? Because they deserve to. It's bad enough what happened to this victim of Abhay. But what is worse is that the system tried to cover it up.
Yeah. What you have mentioned, these 4 points, that state failed. I am a journalist. I have also these observations. There are a lot of questions. But CBI is now investigating all these issues. Before CBI investigation, should we conclude this? And should we punish the Calcutta police officials? Now we have to as my BJP friend is saying, it's a very sensitive issue. Then on this conclusion also, we have to be very sensitive, because a lot of fake stories like the Siemens, what Supreme Court also observed, that was fake. And several, as a journalist also, I am confused. What is truth? What is fake? But I am not supporting the fault lines of the hospital authority. Even the local police, if they are responsible, they should be punished. And
But now, Mr. Ghoshal, let me ask you a straight question. You've heard these phone clips. You've heard the 2 phone clips that are out now in the public domain. First, one assistant super calls the family, then another assistant super calls the family. Do you, from whatever you've heard in these phone conversations, does it seem to you that they were being fully above board with the family, or were they trying to hush this whole thing up? Please tell us.
No. This phone conversation, there are several phone conversations were there. Lot of fake conversations also we found, that the nurse and another doctor conversation. But what you are saying, I am respecting that argument, and I am saying that if it is correct, then we have to investigate why that person called and said this. There must be some reason, whether he was scared, something to hide. But exactly, I don't know, because I was not in the ground zero. As the media is reporting, I am also listening, I am also hearing, but I am not in the judgment seat of Vikramaditya, and I have to conclude today that we have to punish it.
No, so Mr. Ghoshal, let's separate the two things.
I should not be prejudiced either.
Fair enough. But Mr. Ghoshal, let's separate the two facts. One is,
because it is now
one fact
is a political battle.
Yeah, no. Leave aside the political battle. I'm not getting into that. I'm saying what happened on the 9th of August. There are two things that have clearly happened. One is a very, very tragic, very, very unfortunate rape and murder of a young doctor has happened while she was at work, while she was at her workplace, while she was on duty. The responsibility of providing her security, the responsibility of providing her a safe work environment is that of the institution. I mean, if let's say a woman employee were to work in CNN News 18 in the night shift, it is my job as editor, it is the job of my organization to ensure that security is provided to her, that she has a safe environment to work. So it is clear that she did not have a safe environment, and a very, very unfortunate, tragic crime happened with this victim. That is the first part of this entire thing. The second part is, what is it that the management of the institution did in the aftermath of what happened to the victim. These phone calls, the behavior meted out by Sandeep Ghosh, the principal, all of these facts, does it lead you to conclude that the management of the college was acting in good faith? That's a simple question I'm asking.
I agree. I agree with you, but only one point that you are concluding. CBI has not concluded.
Okay.
How can I conclude? Because, these are the questions raised by media, and I am completely with you on this issue that there are several fault lines of the hospital authority and the local police role. And even Abhishek Banerjee called the police commissioner in the midnight and he rebuked the police commissioner. So I don't think that there is a system failure also. And now the guilty should be punished. So our priority is to punish the rapist, even whether it is a gang rape or it's a singular person. That also I don't know, because there are a lot of stories quoting CBI sources that it was not gang rape. But the popular perception was it was gang rape.
So let's leave all of that aside. I want to ask.
Conclude today.
Yeah, I want to ask Dr. Ashokan, who's the head of the Indian Medical Association. You've heard these phone calls. You've been following this case very closely, Dr. Ashokan. It's a very simple, straightforward case as far as I'm concerned. You have a young employee, a young woman employee, a doctor, working in the night shift in her work premises, and a horrible, horrible crime has happened to her at her work premises during her work hours, which leads to her death. As far as I'm concerned, and I'm very clear in my mind about this, the singular responsibility of ensuring a safe working environment for an employee who was working at that hospital, the singular responsibility for that lies with the hospital management. It's clear to me that they failed in that responsibility. And what is worse, Dr. Ashokan, is having failed in that responsibility, post facto, all their actions have been leading to one conclusion, have been leading in one direction, that is to cover their tracks, to cover their own misdeeds and misdemeanors and omissions and commissions which led to this crime. I'm convinced about it. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a forensic scientist. I'm not a policeman. But from whatever is available in the public domain, it is very apparent to me, Dr. Ashokan, that the college authorities, A, failed in their duty, and B, having failed in their duty, they doubly failed by trying to cover their tracks. As the head of the Indian Medical Association, what is your assessment and what is it that you want now? Because after all, one of your fraternity has died in the most tragic of circumstances.
There is very little doubt that the hospital authorities are the responsible persons, and they failed miserably. And we had visited the parents, victims' parents, and what they told us also disturbed us very deeply. They had been very shabbily treated, and whatever that we hear now is also pointing towards that the authorities have not come clean in their how they have handled the issue.
So what would you have them do? Now that this has happened and all of this is apparent to you, what would you have the police, the CBI, the authorities whose job it is to investigate and find out what happened and to fix accountability, what would you have them do?
We want a clean investigation. I am sure that the CBI is doing a meticulous job. That may even be the reason for. There is certainly more than what meets the eye in this case. And even if there are doctors who are involved in this case, they must be punished like criminals. The fraternity is not going to forgive them. But I cannot make a guess. It's not in my domain in this region. Okay. But we will expect a proper investigation and a professional prosecution.
So, Shehzad, nobody is trying to jump the investigation or to come to some kind of conclusion before the investigators have come to a conclusion. But I think again, look at the actions of the college authorities post facto, post the death of this doctor. They first filed a case of unnatural death, and that too
after the postmortem.
Yeah, after the postmortem, it took a good 12-14 hours before the complaint was registered. The assistant super, there were two of them whose phone calls have now come to light, were clearly lying to the family. Nobody has quite investigated why they were lying, who put them up to it, or were they doing this out of their own volition. Shouldn't the CBI, which is now fronting this investigation, be giving us some answers to these questions? Because the whole country has been talking about this case for the last 20 days.
Look, this matter is before the Supreme Court, and I'm sure the CBI, being a professional investigating agency, will tell the Supreme Court. I mean, you obviously don't expect them to give a running commentary on every bit of investigation. Zaka, you're a very reasonable and seasoned person. You know that's not how the CBI or any professional agency will operate, unless, of course, it's Mamata Banerjee's police which will start issuing notices to people at random. But having said that, I agree with Jayantoda. Jayantoda, nobody is telling you, and nor is Zaka jumping to conclusions. But Jayantoda, I expect at least you, somebody as senior as you, and I respect you a lot, to state the facts as it is. For instance, the assistant superintendents did lie to the parents. It's clear as daylight. The parents said that they were lied to. But having said that, could they have delayed the FIR filing? Could they have tampered with the case papers? Could they have hurried up the entire cremation, which was done? The facts of that are out. Could they have altered the crime scene? Could they have desecrated all the evidence? And look at the response of Mamata Banerjee herself. Mamata Banerjee's response points to what I said in the starting. This particular phone call is a symptom. The malaise is the larger institutional failure that takes place in every institution in West Bengal, which leads to cover up institutionally and systematically. You take up any case, corruption case or rape case, you will find institutions covering up because there is a larger element of TMC involvement. And therefore, it is reasonable to conclude that the manner in which Mamata Banerjee is reacting, it means that there is a larger cover up that is taking place, not because just somebody wants to hide their tracks, but something larger that smells rotten. And that is the point that we need to address.
Jayanta Ghoshal, again, I want to separate two facts. One second, Professor Mondal, I'm coming to you. Let Jayanta Ghoshal respond. I want to separate two facts. Whatever omissions and commissions the college authorities did in the aftermath of the unfortunate death of the victim, that is one part. The second part is how the state responded to it. Should that also not be brought to question? Why was the state not hauling up the college authorities?
Definitely. I am not saying that there is no responsibility, and the government also taking responsibility. You have to take the responsibility. Opposition parties' role also to raise the issue. But you know, this new fresh conversation tape, PTI has done the story, and even PTI has said that we have not checked whether it is, correct or not, but that is a conversation. And source also they have not disclosed because this is a conversation. Now, on the basis of this, as a journalist, this conversation, I told my boys that it is better you do the story with the PTI credit line. So the responsibility I cannot take, because tomorrow, if it seems that it is fake, because you know the post-truth era is dangerous. I don't know what is, because a lot of instances, I don't want to bore you, giving several instances of the fake news in this particular incident. But that doesn't mean...
May I just have one line? Jayantoda, I would never interrupt you. Jayantoda, the principal had many skeletons in his closet prior to this incident, including corruption. Akhtar Ali's come out and disclosed them. Vigilance reports were there on which the CBI has now filed an FIR. So why was this man being promoted or sent to another college and being reinstated within 4 hours? Chalo, you forget these audio tapes for a moment. Isn't that the institutional cover-up of the state to protect Sandeep Ghosh?
Okay, let him respond.
He's suspended. He is removed.
When?
What you want? Your demand is to punish the victim or the resignation of the chief minister. That now you have to fix the priority. There are two separate issues. Now, Sandeep Ghosh is also now under investigation, and the CBI is investigating.
Did Kolkata police interrogate him, sir?
I am also not raising the issue that why CBI has not arrested so far.
Jayantoda.
Why CBI has... That also
again, Jayantoda, with utmost discourtesy at my end, I'm sorry. Did Kolkata police investigate him before the CBI stepped in. In fact, he was reinstated in 4 hours. He shares a relationship where Mamata Banerjee writes him good wishes for his birthday.
No,
and he was the one who was running the show there. And she is the health minister.
I know you are a very good spokesman. I am always,
so
I
it's not about me being
your
good
articulation, everything, I admire. But one thing you have to accept,
Terrible liar on
that
TV.
Mamata Banerjee also
Arey Mondal Saab, ek second.
CBI inquiry.
आ रहा हूँ मैं आपके
What
पास.
do you mean?
No, I'll come to you, sir.
Why do you call me for such unfairly conducted
Sir,
debate?
no, come on. Let,
No, please don't call us
don't
like
be
that.
unfair.
No, hang on.
There was
You
a back and
have
forth
called
happening
me
between
just
a very
to
senior
keep
journalist
me
and a
sitting like that
spokesperson
and
of a
see
political
Mamata
party.
getting-
Let it finish, please. Come on. Have a little patience. I'm going to come to you, Professor Mondal. You can do better than that. You can do better than that. Jayanto,
And
yeah.
Manojit is my very good friend of mine. Manojit should speak more than me. I just one sentence, because Poonawalla is raising my name, so I should reply that Poonawalla is a very good spokesman. But I am telling you, you have to accept, you should give the share to the devil also, that Mamata Banerjee, even the victim's parents also admitted that she told us that CBI inquiry, she is ready to give the CBI inquiry.
So the parents said she was not happy with Mamata's
to be fair, the chief minister, I think, went on the second or the third day. The incident happened on Saturday. She went there on Monday and she said, within 7 days, we'll give it to the CBI. That's
but
immaterial.
The parents subsequently said they were not happy with Mamata Banerjee's behavior.
Mr. Mondal. Now the question fundamental is, let's leave aside political affiliations, all of that. I think it is very apparent from these phone conversations that A, the hospital authorities were trying to cover up. And if the hospital authorities were trying to cover up, why did first the Kolkata police not do anything about it? And second, now why is the CBI not doing anything about it? Because I think it's very apparent to me that they were trying to cover up. You know, let me give you another example. Professor Mondal, you work at a university. Let's assume an unfortunate murder of a young student has happened in your university. Who will be the first people who are pulled up?
I'll answer. So when Brijbhushan was being protected by BJP, he was also being accused of the same kind of thing. He was the head of that institution where the athletes come under. Ram Rahim, he is on parole now. Bilkis Banu's rapist, who protected them. And last but not the least, the chief minister of Manipur, the women who were paraded naked after getting raped, who was protecting them? Come on. At least
all these debates you have joined on my show on this channel. All these issues we have debated, Brijbhushan, Manipur, all of these issues we have debated on this show, on this channel.
I'm answering your question.
Now come to my question.
Saying yes. If the principal or any of the college authorities, they were trying to hush up things, if these steps are genuine, coming after 20 days, if these steps are genuine, and at all, assuming that they are genuine but not admitting, if the phone calls went from the hospital with malicious intent, CBI has interrogated them. And Jaka, be honest to yourself, in the hindsight thing that the Kolkata police is investigating, what would you have done now? You would have gone for their heads by now.
No, but Kolkata police still has not arrested these people.
To the CBI for investigating the matter for 18 days.
No. I asked Shehzad Poonawalla, what is CBI doing? They've been investigating for 20 days. Why have they not arrested these people?
I am asking this. You have to allow me to ask these 3 questions to CBI. Only 3 questions.
Okay.
See, Kolkata police got 36 hours to investigate it, and you had asked 3,600 questions day in and day out. 3 questions. Please ask 3 questions to CBI.
What are the 3 questions?
Who are responsible for this much? How much complicity Sandeep goes in, and what are the evidences that Kolkata police destroyed? Kolkata police commissioner on the streets of Calcutta challenged the CBI, saying that please tell them what are the evidences that we have destroyed.
Okay.
On the other hand, the people, hang on. On the other hand, one doctor and one lawyer, they were trying to mislead the investigation by saying that 140 gram semen, that is also misleading of the investigation. What are you doing with that? Because Rajan Bhattacharya, day in and day out, saying that they are a gang rape. What are you doing with that?
So you said gang rape, there was no gang rape. You said Sandeep Ghosh was involved. CBI has questioned him for the last 10 days. For some reason, inexplicable, they are not arresting him. And all of these phone conversations are available to the CBI also. If they've hushed up, Why are these people, the assistant superintendents, not being arrested?
First of all, Mr. Monojit Mandal just needs to correct one fact. 36 hours to investigate, 36 hours to destroy the evidence. That's what the Kolkata police did. And that's not what I'm saying, sir. The High Court and the Supreme Court, if it felt you were doing such a stellar job like Sherlock Holmes, they would have kept the matter with you. 1 second, sir. Sir, please don't interrupt. Sir, please don't interrupt. Have the common courtesy. Zaka, I don't want to engage like this.
Dr. Mandal, you've asked 3 questions.
People are watching. I am not going to
valid
get down
questions.
to this
Let
level.
him respond.
I will. First of all,
let him respond. Let him respond.
May I remind you, Mr. Mandal?
Let him respond.
Mr. Mandal, may I remind you?
Thank you. Yeah.
Mr. Mandal, may I remind you very humbly that your Chief Minister did not transfer the probe to the CBI. The High Court snatched it away from the Kolkata police and handed it over to the CBI. After subsequent...
CA wanted to do that.
Sir, please, I have the last few minutes. I'm winding down the debate. Let him please respond to the questions that you asked. For the benefit of our viewers, you ask questions, let him respond. Yeah. Let him respond. Let him respond, please. Thank you. Yeah, Shahzad.
First of all, if the Kolkata police showed half the intensity in stopping the vandals at RG Medical College as they did to stop the protesters at Nabanno, we would have perhaps had more evidence at RG. If the Kolkata police showed half the intensity it shows in sending notices to journalists and doctors and summoning them to summon Sandeep Ghosh and his acolytes, the assistant superintendent, perhaps you would have had more information right now.
But Shahzad, what is the CBI doing?
I'm coming to that point.
That's the question Professor Mandal has asked.
Zaka, I'll tell you very clearly and I'll tell you very honestly. The CBI is a very professional agency. It is not going to go on a arresting spree and arrest people if it can't piece together every bit of evidence. And here, when the CBI has entered, there is already a lot of huge compromise with the evidence. Everybody knows that. Even you know that. The fact of the matter is that even when these people are now being asked about this phone call, as we speak, they will be telling a story. To corroborate that, you need to go to the evidence and see the evidence at Arjikar. If that is not available, how do they arrest somebody without the proper evidence? One misstep is going to mean that the entire case is going to fall flat.
Okay.
And therefore, they are not going to take any missteps. But having said that, I just want to ask one question. Just
I have to wrap up.
One final question.
Yeah, 10 seconds.
Mamata Banerjee, her entire focus has been to threaten people, has been to burn down half of India. Where is Rahul Gandhi? Where are Priyanka Vadra? None of their representatives are coming on these debates.
Okay. All right. We got to wrap it up into that. We'll see how